Well, cool. Hey, what's up, guys? We are back this week. It's kind of a special week here. David's back from his sex change he had done. This is Erin. It was my pick, In Cold Blood, Truman Capote, 1967. It was based upon killings in Holcomb, Kansas, back in 1959. Two men were on trial, founded in 1960, and they were on death row for 5 years. They were executed in 1965, I believe. Well, I'm kind of curious, though. You've read the book. Me and Roger have not read the book.
Oh, how did you feel?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
How did you feel?
Back in the day.
How did you feel the book and the movie coincided?
I really felt like the book was pretty intense. To me, the book is always better. The details were much better. I personally don't know that I really liked some of the character picks. So it's for me that or the actors in the movie. So that
you don't feel
ruins
they were
it for me.
believable, or
Well, I don't know. I guess Robert Blake, he seems like this quintessential bad guy. I especially like at the beginning when he's spotlighted, when he like lights up the match and his face is in the spotlight. I really like that because it looks so sinister, but it's also introducing you to him. I really like him. I don't know if I like the other guy, the guy who plays Dick.
the guy
Wilson,
from The Walking Dead.
Scott Wilson.
Yeah.
You know, when you read the book, you put the perfect actor in there. You know, you make somebody up. I don't know that I like Scott Wilson. Robert Blake, wonderful. Scott Wilson, not so
I think Scott Wilson did a great job. He was really smooth with it, and he like played the character. I mean, I found it very believable when he was pulling his con jobs.
Oh, doing the checks. And
he was extremely smooth with the character. He played the character well.
When it came time to kill, though, he was very nervous. You see that? He's like, oh, I don't know. I can't stab this guy.
Shocked.
Yeah.
He was shocked that actually, even though he said we're not going to leave any witnesses, and he felt like he was all about that the whole time.
He was the one that was boisterous. Anyway.
Yes, right. He was all jovial about how this was going to be so easy, and they were going to run off with all this money. And then when it happened, I mean, the look on his face, he was just shocked that this is actually happening. I don't think he thought the other guy was going to be the one to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, neither did I, which I read the book. But, you know, in the movie, Robert Blake is, like I said, his image is this quintessential hood. And then he turns out to have a heart. You know, he won't let him rape the girl and all of that. He seems like he has a heart, and then at the end, it's like, bam.
He has standards when it comes to killing.
Yes.
There's rules to killing.
He doesn't like people who lose control, but he was in control when he killed the people. He just had to have it done, right?
I guess. Right.
Yeah, it had to be done. They rely on
when they tell it, when you find out how it happened that night, like I was like, is that really what happened? Or is that just the story they're telling right now?
Yeah.
Because I didn't buy it at first that he's the one that killed him.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, what? I wasn't following. I thought he was going to be the guy that didn't do that, you know? But then, yeah, you bring up a point that I was like, well, I could relate to this guy at first. And then when he does and goes through with all the killing and everything, you're like, you just didn't see it coming. Mm-hmm. The other guy seemed much more hot-tempered and willing to do it.
Those are the quiet ones you got to watch out for.
Yeah, that's what they always say.
Yeah.
Well, and he is the quintessential all-American boy, and he even makes that point. You know, you've got the smile, and he's like, yeah, I'm the all-American good guy, and then he ends up, you think, being the mastermind behind the plot. Maybe he was, but he wasn't the trigger man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he wasn't the trigger man, but
Right.
they did say it took both their personalities to
make
form
that
a third.
third.
To make them actually do it, because neither one of them alone would have committed the murders.
Yeah,
One
they're
has to.
symbiotic.
Yeah.
Dick has like that. He's weak. He can't pull the con. He can pull cons, but he can't like go through with it 100%.
Yeah.
And then, Perry.
Dick was the one who had grand ideas, but like no backbone to do it, and then
Perry. Yeah,
and then
Baptist,
Perry
yeah.
had some standards, and he had some heart. Like, you know, some things are just taboo, but then when it came down to killing time, he was able to do it. So.
Yeah, because his dad actually did a pretty good job raising him, it seems, or a decent job. But then the dad had his mother was an alcoholic, and that led to a broken home, and then that led to his dad becoming resentful of him and then kicking him out, and then he went on his own, and this is what ends up to this guy's life. That was Perry's story.
That was Perry's story, and he even made the comment, his father, that he got his looks from his mom. And then later, Perry says, well, he just couldn't stand looking at me anymore. And so then that's how they had their big split and went their separate ways.
Now, do we know about Dick's family?
His dad is dying of cancer. He was very sweet. I like that scene.
Oh, that's
where
right. That's
he's like,
right.
oh, well, that's Dick's gun and his knife. And, he doesn't even realize that he's giving away this evidence. And,
Naive.
yeah, and he's, oh, I hope you find him. And he's really worried about him and what a good boy he is and all that. So that was kind of sad. Because he's also has cancer and said he wasn't going to be around much longer.
Yeah.
And another thing is the family they murder. The guy is like a nice guy. We are introduced to the whole family in the beginning of the movie, and it's just a everyday, normal family.
Leave the Beaver all the way.
Right. Yeah.
But where's the orchestra music coming from?
We're even introduced to
Throw
the
a record on.
basement.
Yeah.
Which is where they're gonna kill.
They gave you everything right in the beginning. Like here's where you're gonna
Nice
be going.
setup, yeah.
They put the cigarette out behind like the mattress or whatever the box he threw down. Remember that?
Yeah.
They give you all the
Yeah,
clues.
his son's down there smoking a cigarette.
Yeah. Minutes before breakfast.
Well, and it really makes you identify with the family. Those are normal. They're just like things that happen every day. Also, did we mention that this is the actual house where these people, the Clutters, were murdered in this house?
They filmed in the actual house.
They filmed there. They also filmed in the actual courtroom where it happened. And I think it said 6 of the jurors were present, that were actually present during the real trial. So.
Wow. Only 20 years old. I mean, couldn't he say he was born in 1947 by his mugshot? So he died in 1967, right? He's 20.
Well, if he died in 65.
Yeah,
November of 65 is when they were both executed.
So they're kids, basically.
So they were like 18.
18, 19 years old. Kids. Wow.
That's crazy.
Cool.
Well, and also the girl, I thought she seemed a lot older when she was talking. I mean, she sounded mature, and it was just weird when later they said she was, 15 or something like that? 16?
17.
Oh, that's right. She was about to turn 17.
Going to university next year.
Yeah.
She's getting ready to turn 17 a week later.
Yeah.
She was 17.
Because they said this would have been Nancy's birthday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, so what about when they picked up the kid and the old man? I really like that.
Oh,
There's
that
no
was,
scene.
that's
Yeah,
hilarious.
But you also, it kept you like in suspense because you thought they were just going to kill him. Right?
It shows
they
their
already
humility,
killed all
though.
these people, and
Yeah.
and then surprise.
The reason why he was picked for that job was because didn't he tell Dick he killed somebody with the chain?
He did, but later on he tells you why he said that. He just made that up so that he would know when Dick decided to spill his guts.
I thought Perry was, he was the anti-hero, even though he was really not a hero. He starts to become an anti-hero. I mean, that's what I was going to say. I started to identify with the guy when he's going to stop him from raping the girl and everything, but then he's the one that just goes through and kills them all.
Yeah, no mercy. In cold blood, no mercy.
Yeah, we can kill him, but there's a limit to the depravity, so we can't rape all the women.
And it's all botched robbery. They're going after money, going after gold or a safe that doesn't exist.
Yeah, it was like
And
$10,000.
He gets this information from a guy he was in prison with, yes?
Yeah.
Who then later leads the cops to him.
That's the reason why I got
That was
caught.
pretty
Ratted him
much
out.
justice.
So they're after money that they don't get anyway. They make $43 off this murder. Killed 4 people for $43.
Yeah.
Of course, they sell their car for $150 in Mexico.
120. Yeah.
$120 in Mexico.
And they got what, $12.60?
43 bucks was a little bit more money back then than it is now.
Not worth killing somebody over.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it had more value than it does now.
Yeah.
They came up with like $12.60 or something.
Yeah, they
for
pick
the
up this old
bottles.
man.
So if you think that up, there's 3 cents a bottle. They had to pick up like 450 bottles or some craziness.
They pick up the old man and the little boy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Going to California. Yeah.
And the little boy has this wonderful scheme of,
Yeah.
we're just going to make it across by picking up bottles. And it works.
Well, I mean, it's true. I mean, back then,
They drive real
$6.
slow.
Yeah.
He tells them that they can go across the desert basically and pick up bottles, and they do. They all work together, and then they split the money 50-50, and they take off. And they don't kill the old man or the little boy. They treat him with respect, and it's really a heartwarming scene.
Well, it's
in the
funny how
movie.
much fun they're having picking up these bottles, and I'm just thinking in my head, like, just do that for a living. Back in the day, shoot, that's all I'd be doing. Taking a truck, picking up bottles all the time.
What I was thinking was this wonderful character arc that there is with Perry, because you're just like, man, he is a hood. Like the first thing you see
Greaser.
is his face. Yeah, a greaser.
That
but
is a
also
great scene.
hood.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where he's black,
all you see is
and then he lights up the match, and
he's just so dark and
blows
creepy,
it out.
and so you see him be that way, and you're automatically like, man, he is a bad guy. But then he kind of turns out, you think that he's a really good guy.
Mm-hmm.
You think he's going to, like, maybe save this family, even though you've already read the book and it's like the movie Titanic, because you keep thinking everybody's going to be okay, but you know that it's history and these people all die, right?
Yeah.
I don't have that problem.
And then,
Yeah.
and then he ends up
I
killing.
don't
He's
ride
the
big
one that,
boats.
like, savagely, just out of nowhere, starts slicing the guy's throat. And
Yeah.
so it was like, oh, man.
It was like
Character arc didn't work out so well.
It was like what Perry needed something to trigger him, and Dick had enough to like keep him going until he got to his trigger. It kind of seemed like, you know what I mean? What his dad was like, it's the last living thing you'll see. In my mind, I'm thinking he sees that and he's like, "I'll show you, Dad. This is the last thing you're gonna fucking see, family. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be the last thing you see." And I think that's where it kind of triggered him. And then all of a sudden, when it all was done, he's like, "Holy shit, what did I do? Like, I play it cool." You know, I don't know. Kind of felt that way, where he just kind of triggered him, and his dad and him kind of coincided.
Well, they definitely make it seem like it's some kind of psychological trigger there, where Dick is standing there with the rifle in his hand, and it does the flashback to his father threatening to kill him, or going to kill him, and then having no bullets in the gun when he fires it. So it definitely sets it up like it's a psychological trigger there. Now, I mean,
Well,
that's,
and they already had led you, like, they laid that ground because you saw it with the mom and the woman that, you know, like he thought the woman that Dick was with, he kept thinking about his mom and
it
everything.
brings it back. It triggers
Yeah.
his stuff.
This movie, actually, and it started out, I started thinking about natural born killers when they said, you know, oh, come on, I know you're a natural born killer. There's a lot of things in this movie that make me think of the movie Natural Born Killers. Like the flashbacks, you know, Mickey. And I don't know, I've never read the screenplay written by Tarantino that then became Oliver Stone's version of Natural Born Killers, but there was, you know, the psychological triggers. Mickey saw that all the time, if you remember. He was always seeing, like, his mom, like, putting the cigarette out on him when he was, especially when he was in the crib and his mom's putting the cigarette out on him. That was very similar to the scene where Perry's mom is whoring around with him and the kids are all on the bed and they're looking through those bars. And, well, like with his dad, you know, this is the last living thing you'll ever see. His dad was that way, or her dad was, you know, Rodney Dangerfield, very, like, looming and mean when they had the flashbacks. And so it made me think of it.
Only Oliver Stone's version, it's surreal. When Perry comes down after he finds the silver dollar, the girl's silver dollar,
Yeah.
you think, yeah, he's not going to do it. He's like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
We're here, I'm stealing a little girl's silver dollar. There's no safe. You're tapping on walls
Yeah,
where there's
my
no
leg is
safe.
shot.
My leg's stiff and messed up. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then that's like, it kind of like drives him. Like that helped drive him even more to the point where he sees Dick standing there with the gun and they're arguing, and that's when he goes off.
Yeah,
But it's just,
dad
it's like
said-
it took a little while to brew up, and then finally when you realize how ridiculous the whole thing was,
Yeah.
that's what made him snap, you know? The black and white cinematography, you know, was beautiful.
I tell you, this film, you want to talk about a terrifying film. I mean, it definitely was terrifying at some points. I mean, think about it. You're about that family, just like, you trust everybody you come in contact your entire life. You have nothing ever to fear because everybody likes you. And then all of a sudden, one routine night, two guys you know 400 miles to come see you. You never even thought you'd even see in your life. You don't recognize them, are hog-tying you separately. You know what I mean? No one was ever really. Everybody was segregated by themselves. Everybody died alone.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the son and the dad were close, but they were never in the same room, so they can't die together. They couldn't scream at each other. No one heard each other scream. Nobody got to say their last words. You know what I mean? It's terrifying to think about that. Like, you being one of those people and that happening to your family, it's just like, you never would think anything like that. You know, it's very terrifying to have that kind of feeling, you know, of the unknown.
And especially since the dad, I was thinking when they were leading the dad through the living room down to the basement, that he's just kind of stumbling along and has no idea why. Why is this happening? Because they don't have the money. They don't have a safe. They
Yeah.
have $43 on them. So why, you know, what's going on in the middle of the night that this would happen? And those guys just walked in too. That was
Yeah.
another thing.
They're very naive as well because it is
Oh,
such
yeah,
a.
the door's unlocked.
Doors, yeah.
They didn't have to break in. They just
You
strolled right on
wouldn't,
in.
they wouldn't even jump to conclusion that we're going to be murdered because that's not something that really was typically happening back then. Oh, I know what I was. It reminded me of the Manson murders. That's what,
Oh.
and that took
Yeah,
place
very
in
much.
'69.
Yeah, I thought about
Yeah,
that.
it's just like a random thing, similar. They also reminded me of The Desperate Hours. And here's the thing that's ironic: that's a film with Humphrey Bogart, where him and two cons, it's three guys, go into a house, and they hold the family hostage and everything. But they keep bringing up in Cold Blood. Perry brings it up, right? He's dreaming of gold. Him and his dad dreamed of fortunes. And so when they go to Mexico, he's got maps and he's going to go for the gold, the sunken treasure. He's got dreams of gold. He's after gold, after riches, which is, of course, why they stopped at the house to get the money, right? Yeah. But he brings up the fact that Humphrey Bogart in the beginning and the treasure of Sierra Madre, which is his character in that is Fred C. Dobbs, who goes into the desert searching for gold. We watched Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia, and in the beginning of that, one of the characters gives his name, which is a false name. When Benny's at the piano and he asks what the guy's name is when they're walking out, he says Fred C. Dobbs, the character of Humphrey Bogart. Well, we know in the Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia, Benny's after his fortune, and he's like willing to do anything to get this fortune, but he doesn't. He ends up losing his life, Well, in this movie, in Cold Blood, they're after this fortune, and they don't get any fortune. They end up losing their lives, I see this in Treasure of Sierra Madre, that theme in several movies.
The theme is, crime doesn't pay.
Which he brings up. He's like, well, boy, we're just an illustration of how crime pays.
When they're freezing their asses off.
They ran away from Mexico.
Yeah, they go to Mexico. They get to
Mexico.
There.
They're free.
And I'm thinking, well, they made it to Mexico already. What's the rest of the movie about? How are they going to catch them if they're in Mexico? The investigation is just getting started in the States, and they're in Mexico. In this film, either you don't really dwell a lot either on the negative stuff, the real bad stuff. Really, it's more hanging out with these two guys. Which reminded me of Two Lane Blacktop, which is a Monty Hellman film about two guys doing a road trip, in a car. And it's kind of similar because this is a road trip kind of movie. You're traveling a lot. In the beginning, you're traveling a lot in cars with them. They're picking up bottles in that car.
Yeah, it's like car. I just pushed the license plate, took off in it.
It's funny that you say the whole thing about it being a road movie, because that also goes back to the Oliver Stone version of Natural Born Killers, because it was his road movie. But his big inspiration was Bonnie and Clyde, is how he looked at making. Which
came out the same year as this, Cold Blood, 67. But Badlands has a lot of the same vibe as this. It's Martin Sheen and Sissy Spacek, and Warren Oates, Benny. He plays the father, and they just end up killing him for no reason, basically in Cold Blood. Very similar feel to this film as well, where it's got that newsreel kind of feel to it. On the poster, it's the real eyes.
That's the eyes of the actual killers, not the actors. I thought that was
because it has a very documentary, feel to it, especially with the narrator. When the narrator came on, I kind of had a problem with that, but then I thought it's like a newsreel, with this narrator explaining to me what just happened to these characters. But the transitions and the scenes were excellent.
Yeah, they were seamless. At times you didn't know
they were
seamless
to me.
In one of the earlier scenes, that car horn, right in with the train. Yep. Oh man, that was crazy. I was like,
the bus is coming.
Oh,
as the bus goes from the left to the right of the frame, it cuts to a train going to the
seamlessly though. I mean, it just seems seamless.
Well, there's the whole sequence where the one guy goes to pick up the phone, and then it turns into Perry.
It's a whole bunch of...
Yeah, it just cuts back and forth so that you never know, right before he says a name, it switches to the other guy.
Saying a name. That was the title sequence.
Yeah. To bring the characers in. That was well done.
It was. It was well done.
Awesome. Well, hey, that wraps up another week of an awesome movie. Roger, over to your rate. What would you give this film?
I was going to give it a 3. I was going to say it's really good.
Really good?
Yeah.
I give the film 2 thumbs up. I thought the film was great. I recommend it. Erin, what would you give the film?
Since I don't have an established rating system, I'm just going to go with 1 thumb up. It was a good movie. I
50%.
would rather read the book.
That's fair. That is fair. So since Dave is in Las Vegas for another week, that turns to Erin to make the pick for next week. And what is your pick going to be?
I'm going to stick with the black and white theme we've got going on, and with To Kill a Mockingbird.
Oh, damn!
That's awesome.
Another
one that
impressive.
I
read the book, loved it, and I love the movie. So I think it'll be a good
Yeah,
time for all.
that is a good
Okay.
pick. I will say
It's a
though,
great
I
pick.
forgot to bring up that this was the first black and white film that we have seen so
Oh, yeah.
far during our reviews.
Yeah.
And this will be the second one. So check back with us next week. We'll have another review. Hit us up, leave some comments. Check out our other reviews. We appreciate it. Have a good day. Bye.